called Judea decided to include the story of the Magi following the star, a story which belonged to this huge empire. They decided to include it within their writings. And so in Matthew's Gospel, we get the story of the Magi following the star, looking for their Messiah, because they had a Messiah too. That longed-for Messiah of theirs was going to lead the forces of goodness against the forces of evil, to destroy the forces of evil, and that Messiah was meant to be a human. However, the subsect of the Mithra followers within that religion believed that that Messiah was going to be a human incarnated from their god Mithra. However, the gospel narrative writers, of course, I'd suggest, knew this story, and for some reason they've shoved it in Matthew's Gospel and Luke. How come we don't know about all that I've just been saying? How come we don't know about it? It might be crack, as our friend is saying. It might be, but I challenge you when those doors open to go through there and check it up. You'll find it's not crack. There's a conspiracy of silence about this stuff. You'll find that our civilization does not want you to know what I have just been saying. For some reason, well, I can guess at the reason. If we're going to nick stories from another culture and put them in ours, treat them as our stories, we don't want you, who are meant to be sucked in like idiots. Remember, I'm an atheist. He's come to take me away.
Aha, the funny farm, is it?
We don't want you knowing that story, and then you might realise how much you've been hoodwinked. But it's interesting. I, as an atheist, find it very interesting to see how these stories develop, to see how things get twisted. The legend of the three wise kings themselves become quite twisted. After a while, they decided to give the three wise kings names. They called one Melchior, they called one Casper or Gaspar, and they called another one Balthazar. Now that didn't happen until about the 9th century. Then they decided that they better have the three kings representing the three different ages of humans: youth, middle age, and old age. They also decided that they'd better have the kings representing the three different areas. So one king, Melchior, is meant to be the king of Persia. Casper or Gaspar is meant to be the king of India. And Balthazar is meant to be the king of Egypt. And he's meant to be, according to the legend, black and African. Of course, Egypt is in Africa. There's no surprise about that.
No.
Thank you.
The only thing is supposed to be dried all night.
If you read the story in the Bible, you'll find that an angel warns them not to go back to King Herod. He wants to find out what they discovered, where the Christ was born. We could ask them stupid questions, couldn't we? How come? Because they'd gone to the king in the first place to ask him where the Christ, the Messiah, was going to be born. He called his advisors. They told the three wise men that it was, according to the story, that would probably be Bethlehem. If King Herod was so worried about having a rival born, we could ask, why didn't he just send his soldiers into Bethlehem and murder all the children there and then? Which he did later. Every child below 2 was slaughtered. Why didn't he do it in the first place?
He was just scared of it.
Why didn't he have the three wise men follow? They would have led him to the Christ child. But then again, we're asking logical, rational types of questions about a legend. So really, I'm being stupid.
You are.
Yes, I might be, yes.
Totally.
By asking such questions. After all, it is just a fairy story.
It is.
But remember, it's only my opinion, and I'm an atheist, so of course I think it was a fairy story. But to those of you who believe it, it's not a fairy story. It's the truth. And therefore, these problems really become problems.
Yeah,
Because if it's the truth, why doesn't it make sense?
People fall for them.
King Herod, as I said, was hoping to find the whereabouts of the Christ child from the three wise kings when they returned, as he'd asked, to report to him as to where the child could be found. Because the king had said, lied of course, that he wanted to go and pay Christ homage. Anyway, I'm not telling you anything new. This is all there in the Bible, in the story. So in the story, an angel comes to the three wise kings and tells them, don't go back to see Herod. It could be dangerous. So they take the angel's advice and they buzz off.
That's what you should buzz off.
Part of the legend, or additional forms of that legend, and I think these ones originate in the medieval times. They get so inspired, according to the legend, for the sight of the Christ child, that they decide to go to India and convert the heathens. I like that, convert the heathens. Heathens is an abuse term used by religions about non-believers in their particular religion. Heretics is another one. Heathen is another one. Atheist is another one. Don't forget the Roman authorities labelled the Christians as atheists. As far as the Roman authorities were concerned, the Christians were atheists because until they made it the imperial religion of the Roman Empire, the Christians would not pay homage to the emperors, to the Caesars of Rome. And therefore, as the Caesars of Rome were considered to be divine, the Christians were refusing to honour the divinity of the emperor And so they were labelled by the authorities as atheists. It's not quite what we mean by atheists, but that's how the word is used, as an abuse term.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Here.
Anyway, this legend, this development of the legend, because these stories get embellished as the years go on. The legend arose that three wise men met St. Thomas. Now, St. Thomas, according to certain legends, had also gone to India to convert the heathen. I don't know why the Bible had India on the brain, but for some reason I just paused there. I lied. I just told you an untruth. This is not in the Bible. This is developments within the legend of the three wise kings. So this is non-biblical. These versions of the legend developed later, perhaps in medieval times. So, according to those legends, St. Thomas consecrates three wise kings and makes them bishops. And that's why often in the portrayals, the pictures of three wise kings, they have mitres, they have bishops, apparel. That particular story goes on, and there's two different versions. One version, they die and their bones all end up in the one spot. In other versions, they're in three wise kings. Their remains are in three different areas. That particular legend claims that the Empress Helena, that's the wife, mother of Emperor Constantine. Roman Emperor Constantine was the the emperor who first chose Christianity. I was going to say as his religion. That's a controversial point. He decided to back the Christian religion, and he called 325 AD, he called bishops, one of the factions, one of the varieties of the Christians. He called them to a town in Turkey, now in Turkey, called Nicaea. Then it was part of the Roman Empire. And tried to get them to agree on one version of belief. He sort of succeeded. That's now the version that we've got. And the joke is that that version was chosen by the Roman emperors. And of course, you know what happened to all the adherents of all the other varieties of Christianity. Once the winning faction got the use, the might of Rome to back up their version. Anyway, the legend claims, this is the legend of the three wise kings, that Constantine, the Emperor Constantine's mother, the Empress Helena, or Helena if you prefer, went around finding the bones of the three wise kings who were buried in three different areas. And she brought all the bones back to Constantinople. later transferred to Milan in Italy. And in 1100 and something, Frederick Barbarossa, let's call him a conqueror, took the bones back to Cologne in Germany, what we now call Germany, and that's where you'll find them. So whenever you're in Cologne, go to the cathedral, and there you'll find remains of 3 wise kings. I kid you not. Go and look it up. Of course, I would say, being an atheist, the supposed remains of the 3 wise kings are in the Cologne Cathedral. So it just shows you how much these legends can alter and develop. A legend, of course, is a mixture of mythology, pure fantasy, together with history. The problem with legends is that we never know how much history, how much mythology is mixed up. And that's where we depend on our historians and archaeologists to find out for us. However, as you'll discover when you go through those doors and start looking up this stuff, every expert will have a different opinion. So I can't offer you a solution. If you want a simple belief, stick to religion. Once you start looking, hoping to find the truth via the path of knowledge, that's what you're up against. Every damn expert you get hold of will tell you a different version. Every book on the subject you pick up will give you a different version. So I wish you luck. But I think that's about enough from me, despite this milk. My voice is giving out. Hopefully the Speakers Forum will be here every Sunday afternoon. Every Sunday, hopefully there'll be several speakers. Some of them won't speak rubbish like me. They'll be telling you the truth on all sorts of topics. And of course, that's the other offer. If you want to talk, you're welcome. Of course, you can talk anywhere, you don't have to talk here. Anyway, goodbye. Next speaker, please.